What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Hairlocs Stylist Lounge, where we talk everything hair extension related. I'm Josh.
And I'm Stacy. We're going to be coming to you once a month, bringing you, like Josh said, all things hair extension related. Tips, topics, and different things. If you have a question or a topic that you want us to talk about, you can reach out to us on any of our social media platforms.
So today, we're going to be bringing you some hair extension care and styling do's and don'ts. First up, let's talk about wearing your hair in a ponytail.
So with a ponytail, all methods, you don't want to get it too tight. That won't be comfortable for you as you're wearing your extensions.
Also, that extra tension can lead to traction alopecia with most of the extension methods, which you do not want. That's literally pulling the hair from the scalp, leaving bald spots. Also, when you are wearing wefts, you want to avoid wearing a tight middle head pony. Wear your hair in a low pony or a high pony, never securing that ponytail directly on top of those wefts. And why is that, Stacy?
That is definitely going to cause a breakage of your wefts, and you want to secure the longevity of your hair as much as possible.
Exactly. So what's next?
So we want to get into a little bit of heat styling. You're always going to want to use a heat protectant whenever you're styling your extensions. Heat also on your tools should be at a lower heat. What would you recommend, Josh?
I always say under 350. Remember, you're curling your hair, you're not baking a cake.
Good point.
Yeah. So next, let's talk about brushing. A lot of times I see people aggressively brushing their hair and then they wonder why, oh, I've got some eye tips falling out or my weft is sliding. That's because you really want to secure those extensions while you are brushing.
Yeah, starting at the bottom, just make sure you're brushing, getting any tangles, knots out, working from the bottom up so that you're not aggressively brushing your hair.
And when you are brushing out your extensions, always make sure that you are securing your extensions at the scalp with your hand and then brushing from the ends up. That's going to make sure that you're not creating any tension, not pulling, and you're going to brush everything out nice and easily.
Next, we're going to go over some bedtime hair care for your extensions. You're going to want to keep it in a low ponytail, a braid. Make sure if you wash before bed that it is completely dry before you go to sleep.
And a big reason for that, if you go to bed with wet hair and you don't put it in a ponytail, your hair is going to get moved all over while you're moving and tossing and turning while you're sleeping. And you're just going to wake up with a huge matted mess on your head. So always make sure your hair is 100% dry, and keeping your hair in a low pony when you go to bed is going to keep everything in place. That way, when you're tossing and turning while you're sleeping, you're not going to wake up with a knotted, matted, tangled mess.
And another thing we're going to talk about is conditioning. So when you're conditioning your extensions, you're going to want to stay away from your scalp area, just because depending on the method of choice you have, that can loosen your method. If you have eye tips, they could slide out easier. Wefts are also cylinders that the conditioner can get caught in those beads, and that can give you some slippage. What would you like to add on the conditioning?
That is a good one. Also, when you're conditioning, keep in mind you don't need to condition the scalp. Conditioning is going to be more for your mids and ends. So apply your conditioner from the middle of your hair down. You don't want to apply it on your roots. So that brings us to shampooing. When you are shampooing your hair, you always want to make sure that you're getting between your rows. So if you're wearing wefts or eye tips, kind of like creating little threes with your fingers and getting in between, doing zigzag motions. That way you're cleansing the scalp in between your rows. And when you rinse, you want to make sure that you're rinsing all of that out. So lift up row by row and make sure that you feel that water on your scalp so that you are rinsing all of that shampoo, conditioner, product buildup out of the hair, leaving it nice and clean.
And touching on that a little bit, you want your hair nice and clean because wearing extensions, we all know, they take a long time to dry. You have a lot of time to style them. And so you want a nice clean palette getting out of the shower to where your shampoo will last longer.
Exactly.
A lot of questions we get from clients is what kind of products they should use as far as shampoos and conditioners. One thing that we want to emphasize is to stay away from reparative products and stick more with something that gives moisture and hydration for your extensions.
And keep in mind, the extensions are not connected to a life source, so they're not being fed moisture and nourishment. So it is very important to bring that back into the hair. Even if that's just a once a week moisture mask that you're doing on your hair on top of your regular conditioner to help add moisture and nourishment back into that extension. So after shampooing and conditioning, let's talk about some hairstyling products. So one big thing I always tell everyone to avoid is any products that have alcohol in it, especially if you're wearing any of the adhesive-based methods like K-tips and tape-ins, because the alcohol can actually break down that adhesive and cause the longevity to shorten and the extensions to fall out.
We don't want that to happen. But another thing that we don't want to happen is having any discoloration in our extensions. So if you are blonder or lighter toned hair, always stay away from any tinted oils. Make sure when you're wearing extensions that you're always using a clear oil, something that won't cause your hair to get brassy or just have any discoloration to it.
That's a good one, and that's a very important one. So after that, let's wrap up with some summer hair care. So we know that you guys are out enjoying the sun, hanging out by the pool, going to the beach. So proper hair extension care is crucial, especially when you're spending so much time in the sun.
It's summer and it's hot, and although you are wearing your sunscreen daily, you need to make sure that you're keeping it off of your hair. You don't want to use chemical-based sunscreens or tanning oils, but mineral-based instead. Things like that can damage your hair and also discolor.
So those are definitely great points. Also, if you are planning on getting in the water, whether it's at the beach or at your pool, making sure that you are not allowing your hair to soak in that salt water or chlorine water. Keep it in a ponytail, keep it out of the water. One really good tip that I always recommend, take a spray bottle, mix a little bit of leave-in conditioner and water in it, and mist your hair down with that first. Keep in mind, your hair is like a sponge, so whatever it absorbs, it is going to hold onto. We don't want it to absorb and hold on to the chlorine and the salt, right? So when you're spraying a leave-in conditioner, it's almost like you're allowing your hair to get that moisture and conditioning at the same time while you're protecting it from the chlorine and the salt water.
I keep one in my pool bag, my beach bag, all the time in the summer.
Definitely.
Okay guys, that wraps up some of our extension and styling hair care do's and don'ts.
Thank you for tuning into the Hairlocs Stylist Lounge. We hope you took a lot of great information away from today's video, and we will see you next month.